The UK is losing more jobs to AI that are being created. This is according to a new study from Morgan Stanley. Basically, British companies, British firms are reporting that AI has resulted in a net job loss over the past year. In fact, they're reporting that these losses due to AI are up 8%. So you've got people that are being laid off for AI, and it's not providing new jobs in the UK, according to the study. And guys, this is interesting. This is the highest rate of job loss amongst other leading economies like the US, Japan, Germany, Australia. And one of the things I find interesting is which industries are surveyed. And while they don't tell us the exact firms that are reporting in the Morgan Stanley survey, it states that they're surveying firms that have been using AI for at least a year, and they're particularly interested in some of the following industries: consumer retail, real estate, transport, healthcare, and automotive. Now, what this found was that the study found British businesses reported an average of 11.5% increase in productivity gained by AI. And we've seen this before. We'll cover this more in a moment. I almost wonder if this is stock market manipulation, government, politics playing a part. We'll cover that in just a moment. Just hang out. But what is interesting, what they do report, is that this problem is particularly bad for Gen Z. At any rate, what they also note is that unemployment in the UK is at a 4-year high. 5.1% unemployment versus 4.4% just a year earlier. And again, they are finding that Gen Z and college graduates are hit particularly hard. Why is that? Well, I'm glad you asked. Basically, the businesses surveyed said they're most likely to end early career jobs that require 2 to 5 year experience. And this is where I think we really need to understand here, like, if everyone has a PhD in their pocket that is book smart but not street smart, this is a big threat to young graduates who have spent their whole lives learning mathematics, coding. These are the types of industries that are particularly hit because AI can do these things very well. And then when you put the AI tools in the hands of someone with experience, wisdom, connections, well, they're going to be able to perform better than the person that just graduated from school and doesn't have those things just yet. This has been kind of an ongoing trend on the channel that we've been covering, in that the career ladder is being really rejiggered in a lot of different ways. The reality is that the experience needed is becoming more and more valuable. And quite frankly, I don't necessarily think that you need a college degree to get the experience. Heck, you can start your own LLC, side business, you become a contractor and take on odd jobs. Well, it's difficult to find new clients, at least at first. You're going to be able to get a lot of experience, and you're not walking away with $150,000 in debt. And frankly, I think a lot of young people are starting to wake up to this. At any rate, I want to just kind of cover this study because we're seeing so many numbers. And one of the things I think is interesting here is the potential political aspect to a report like this. We see typically people on the left who are saying that AI is the end of all workers, and then people on the right seem to think that it's going to lead to more opportunity. And I think there's a couple interesting examples here. So for one, the London mayor, Sadiq Khan, warned that AI could, quote, usher in a new era of mass unemployment. While on the flip side, you have people like the AI czar, David Sachs, who says that here in the United States, who says that AI isn't actually replacing jobs now, but it might in the future. So we've got these different kind of perspectives here. My perspective, and one of the reasons I launched this channel, was I am very concerned about mass job displacement. I think that the skills that we've built and grown as men over the past decades are soon going to become irrelevant as AI starts to solve those problems. And we've looked at a lot of different examples on the channel. If you've been subscribed to the channel, you will be aware of many of them, from HR to sales to customer service to coding and software engineering. We've looked at robots replacing warehouse workers. We were just looking at all these different ways that AI is impacting the workforce. Now, my stance is that yes, AI is going to lead to mass job displacement, but there's going to be it's going to be a totally different world. There's going to be a whole new set of problems that need to be resolved. It's also worth noting, and a lot of you guys leave comments to this effect. A lot of firms are actually blaming AI for job losses because it's kind of like a humble brag in a way. You can say, hey, yeah, we had to lay off 1,000 workers because the AI is just so good at what it does. This is something that we've seen from Mark Benioff over at Salesforce. I'll post a link to this here. They ended up laying off half of their customer service staff, basically saying that the AI agents were so good they didn't need them. And as any sort of business owner knows, labor is one of your largest expenses. So if you're able to cut out labor, it's just gonna make your work much more efficient and much more profitable. This is the kind of promise of AI. Is it going to manifest that way? Well, I don't necessarily know that it completely has, although what we're seeing in this Morgan Stanley report, there is an impact there. So again, we're kind of in this weird position here where we don't exactly have complete visibility onto what's happening and how AI is replacing jobs. One of the things that we covered at the very end of the year was kind of like a summary of like how many jobs were ended here in the United States. It's about 1.1 million. And of those 1.1 million, 55,000 were explicitly linked to AI replacement. So anyway, that's, I think, interesting. And again, AI is often used as this excuse to fire people because it actually makes you look good on paper. From an investor standpoint, they're saying, oh, well, they are clearing out the gloat, they're using AI. Okay, that can lead to a stock bump. Not all the time, but certainly sometimes. Regardless, guys, I think this is an interesting trend, interesting study. I would encourage you to check it out. There's a link below. And at the end of the day, I just want to kind of share this, that the other day, someone in a comment led something like, oh, you can't predict the future, don't listen to him, he doesn't know what's happening. And, partially that's somewhat correct. It's impossible to predict the future here. I mean, the people that were telling the truckers to learn to code are now saying, oh, actually, maybe I need to change my career now, right? We thought that AI was going to replace blue-collar jobs when it actually looks like it's the white-collar jobs that are being most critically impacted. I also, quite frankly, when things started rolling out, said, well, I think that young people are going to have an advantage because they're going to be able to adapt to these tools more quickly. However, it actually looks like, middle-aged people with more experience in relationships might be more positioned to be more advantaged in their position because relationships are going to matter a lot. So let me close with this. At least the way I see it, we can't predict exactly what's going to happen in the future. However, we know that so much money, so much investment is being put into these tools. The tools are a really powerful tool as well. So you understand if you're using these AI tools that they can save you a lot of time. You can automate a lot of stuff. It's pretty amazing. So this is what we know. We know that the problems that are being solved today, a lot of those problems are going to be solved with AI, with robotics, with automation. So where does that leave us? Well, we need to adapt, guys. And I think that is my message for 2026. Adapt, learn new skills, try to surround yourself with people that know more than you. That is something I put a big emphasis on. And build those relationships up. Relationships, skill building. Don't get comfortable. This is not a good time to be comfortable. Very difficult job market out there. It's hard to find new jobs, new positions, again, especially if you're young. So anyway, I will encourage you to go out and make it happen. And if you liked today's video, thanks for the likes, thanks for the subscribe. I'm bringing you a fresh video 6 days a week. You will definitely find yesterday's video interesting as well. In Autodesk, very large tech company, just fired 1,000 employees. And what was really interesting to me was how many salespeople were fired. I thought salespeople were going to be pretty good because it's very relationship based. It turns out maybe not so fast. So go check out that video on why Autodesk is firing people and who's being fired. All right, guys, I'll see you next video. All right, peace.